Man's Search for Meaning, page 40. In Camp 2, a man might draw the attention of a comrade working next to him to a nice view of the setting sun shining through the tall trees in Bavarian woods, as in the famous watercolor by Durer. The same woods in which we have built an enormous hidden munitions plant. One evening, when we were already resting on the floor on our hut, dead tired, soup bowls in hand, the fellow prisoner rushed in and asked us to run out to the assembly grounds and see the wonderful sunset. Standing outside, we saw sinister clouds glowing in the west, and the whole sky alive with clouds of ever-changing shapes and colors, from steel blue to blood red. The desolate grey mud huts provided a sharp contrast, while the puddles on the muddy ground reflected the glowing sky. Then, after minutes of moving silence, one prisoner said to another, "How beautiful the world could be." Another time we were at work in the trench. The dawn was grey around us. Grey was the sky above. Grey the snow in the pale light of dawn. Grey the rags in which my fellow prisoners were clad, and grey their faces. I was again conversing silently with my wife, or perhaps I was struggling to find the reason for my sufferings, my slow dying. In the last violent protest against the hopelessness of imminent death, I sensed my spirit piercing through the enveloping gloom. I felt it transcend that hopeless, meaningless world. And from somewhere I heard a victorious yes in answer to my question of the existence of an ultimate purpose. At that moment, a light was lit in a distant farmhouse, which stood on the horizon as if painted there, in the midst of the miserable grey of a dawning morning in Bavaria. It looks in Tenebris Lucé, and the light shines in the darkness. For hours I stood hacking at the icy ground. The guard passed by, insulting me, and once again I communed with my beloved. More and more I felt that she was present, that she was with me. I had the feeling that I was able to touch her, able to stretch out my hand and grasp hers. The feeling was very strong. She was there. Then, at that very moment, a bird flew down silently and perched just in front of me, on a heap of soil which I had dug up from the ditch, and looked steadily at me. Earlier I mentioned art. Is there such a thing in a concentration camp? It rather depends on what one chooses to call art. Kind of cabaret was improvised from time to time. The hut was cleared temporarily. A few wooden benches were pushed or nailed together, and a program was drawn up. In the evening, those who had fairly good positions in camp, capos, and the workers who did not have to leave camp in distant marches assembled there. They came to have a few laughs, or perhaps to cry a little, anyway, to forget. There were songs, poems, jokes, some with the underlying satire regarding the camp. All were meant to help us forget, and they did help. The gatherings were so effective that a few ordinary prisoners went to see the cabaret in spite of their fatigue, even though they missed their daily portion of food by going. During the half-hour lunch interval in soup, which the contractors paid for, and for which they did not spend much, was ladled out at our work site. We were allowed to assemble in an unfinished engine room. On entering, everyone got a ladle full of watery soup. While we sipped it greedily, a prisoner climbed onto a tub and sang Italian arias. We enjoyed the songs, and he was guaranteed a double helping of soup straight from the bottom. That meant with peas.